The year was 2157, and humanity had just achieved what many had thought impossible. After centuries of dreaming about the stars, we finally broke the light-speed barrier. The breakthrough came from a small research lab in Seoul, where Dr. Lee and his team discovered how to bend space-time in ways that even Einstein hadn't imagined. Within months, the first human ships ventured beyond our solar system, carrying not weapons of war but gifts of peace. The United Earth Coalition, formed after the climate wars of the 2090s, decided that humanity's approach to the stars would reflect the hard lessons we'd learned on Earth. We nearly destroyed ourselves fighting over resources, President Park declared in her historic speech. We won't make the same mistake among the stars. When the exploration vessel Horizon made first contact with the aquatic Nayari species in the Tau Ceti system, humanity held its collective breath. The aliens were cautious at first, their translucent bodies pulsing with bioluminescent patterns of anxiety. But when Captain Sun's team shared medical supplies to help with a bacterial infection devastating the Nayari young, the barriers began to fall. They couldn't believe we wanted nothing in return, Captain Sun wrote in his journal. It seems the concept of unconditional aid is as alien to them as their four-lobed brains are to us. Within the first decade of exploration, humanity encountered 7 different civilizations. Most were older than Earth's spacefaring culture, and many were struggling. The desert world of Proxima b had been ravaged by solar flares. The Torgans, a reptilian species with elaborate honor codes, were fighting a losing battle against an engineered virus. The peaceful Avendi could barely feed their population after a meteor strike destroyed their agricultural regions. To each, humanity extended a helping hand. Earthships brought water purification systems to Proxima b. Our geneticists worked tirelessly to develop a cure for the Torgan virus. Agricultural experts taught the Avendi how to grow crops in their new, harsher climate. Ambassador Han became the face of humanity's goodwill. A former doctor who had spent decades in Earth's most war-torn regions, she brought the same compassion to the stars. When the warring Draxian and Vol empires were on the brink of mutual destruction, it was Han who shuttled between their fleets for 60 straight days, sleeping only in quick naps on her transport ship. The Draxians and Vol have been fighting. So long they've forgotten why, she told her exhausted staff on day 48. Sometimes people or aliens need an outsider to remind them that peace is always an option. Against all odds, she succeeded. The Treaty of New Singapore ended a conflict that had raged for 80 years. During the signing ceremony, both alien leaders honored Han with their highest awards. Images of the small human woman standing between the towering blue-scaled Draxian Emperor and the crystalline Vol Queen were broadcast across Earth. Humans celebrated these diplomatic victories. We were the newcomers, the youngest species at the table, yet we were making a difference. Earth media called it humanity's golden age among the stars. But not everyone in the galaxy appreciated Earth's approach. Behind closed doors on the Galactic Council station orbiting Centauri Alpha, the elder species watched with growing concern. The Torgans, despite being saved by human medicine, were particularly vocal. These humans spread across our systems like a disease, General Vox of the Torgan fleet hissed during a private council session. They smile and offer gifts while inserting themselves everywhere. No species acts without self-interest. The council, dominated by species that had fought their way to power over millennia, couldn't understand humanity's motivations. Their civilizations were built on strength, conquest, and carefully balanced power. The concept of giving without immediate return didn't fit their worldview. Perhaps they are simply naive, suggested the Makari representative, her metallic skin reflecting the council chamber's lights. Young races often are. Or perhaps, countered the ancient Zoltan observer, his eye stalks narrowing. They are cleverer than we give them credit for. A strategy we do not understand is still a strategy. And so, even as humanity established humanitarian outposts on dozens of worlds and freely shared technology that had taken us centuries to develop, the powerful species of the galaxy plotted. They accepted our gifts with one hand while concealing weapons in the other. On Earth and human colonies, people remained blissfully unaware of these dangerous undercurrents. Children learned in school about how humanity was bringing peace to the stars. News reports showed alien species celebrating the arrival of human aid ships. Politicians spoke proudly of Earth's moral leadership in the galaxy. Only a few humans sensed trouble brewing. Captain Jin, returning from a diplomatic mission to the Torgan homeworld, reported being treated with barely concealed contempt. "They took our medical supplies and almost pushed us back to our ship," she reported. "Something doesn't feel right." Ambassador Han noticed too. After 3 decades of diplomatic work, she had developed a keen sense for alien body language and cultural cues. During a Galactic Council meeting where Earth was praised publicly for its contributions, she caught the Torgan representative making a gesture she recognized from their culture, a sign of mockery and disdain. But these warnings went largely unheeded. Humanity continued to extend its hand in friendship, believing that generosity would eventually win over even the most skeptical alien hearts. We were about to learn a harsh lesson about the true nature of galactic politics and about the dangerous mistake of assuming that other species shared our values. 3 decades after humanity's first steps into the galaxy, the true face of interstellar politics finally revealed itself. The betrayal didn't come as a single devastating blow, but as a series of carefully orchestrated moves in a game humanity didn't even know it was playing. The first signs appeared at the outer colony of New Hope, a small farming settlement that supplied food to 3 different alien worlds, suddenly reported that their shipments were being raided. Pirates, the Galactic Council declared when Earth filed a formal complaint. Lawless elements that plague all developing regions of space. But Captain June of the patrol ship Sentinel wasn't convinced. After tracking one of these so-called pirate vessels, his team discovered something disturbing. The raiders were using military-grade Torgan cloaking technology. When he presented this evidence to the Council, they dismissed it as stolen equipment and suggested human security forces were inadequate for the challenges of deep space. Similar incidents multiplied across human space. Research outposts reported break-ins where only data was stolen. Human doctors working on alien worlds found their treatments being replicated without credit by Torgan Medical Corps. Trade agreements suddenly contained new clauses that heavily favored alien interests. Admiral Kim, head of Earth's defense forces, began collecting these reports in what his staff called the pattern, a massive data visualization showing how these weren't random events, but connected actions. "Someone is testing our boundaries," he told President Yoon during a closed-door meeting, "and they're finding we have very few." Then came the day that would later be remembered as the mask drop. A distress call reached Earth from New Eden, one of humanity's most successful colonies. A mysterious plant disease was spreading rapidly through their crops, threatening mass starvation. Without hesitation, Earth dispatched its largest relief fleet, 17 ships carrying food supplies, agricultural experts, and emergency medical equipment. What they found at New Eden wasn't a natural disaster, but a trap. As the relief fleet entered orbit, a Torgan battle group decloaked around them. "Your vessels are violating Torgan-protected space," came the transmission from the alien flagship. "Power down immediately." Captain Song of the lead Earthship, Mercy, tried to explain their humanitarian mission, but the Torgans opened fire without further discussion. Within minutes, 12 human ships were destroyed. The remaining 5 were boarded, their crews taken prisoner, and their advanced terraforming technology seized. On the same day, coordinated strikes hit human outposts across 3 star systems. The message was clear. Humanity's expansion was over. Back on Earth, people watched in horror as footage of the attacks spread through the news networks. "How could they do this?" became the question on everyone's lips. "We came in peace. We helped them." The answer came just hours later when the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. With practiced solemnity, representative after representative expressed grave concern about the human situation. The Torgan ambassador, his scaled skin gleaming under the council lights, spoke the longest. "While we appreciate humanity's contributions," he said with a thin smile that showed rows of sharp teeth, "it has become clear that Earth lacks the experience to manage its own expansion. For the stability of the galactic community, we propose a protective oversight arrangement. The vote was unanimous. After just 3 decades as a spacefaring civilization, humanity found itself essentially reduced to a vassal state. Earth could maintain its government, but all space travel, trade, and colonial development would require council approval. Human technology would be shared with supervising species for safety evaluation. In the gallery overlooking the council chamber, Admiral Kim watched the proceedings with a face carved from stone. Only when he saw the representatives laughing together after the formal session ended did any emotion show in his eyes. "Record this," he whispered to his aide. "I want every human to see what I'm seeing right now." The footage spread across Earth and human colonies within hours. Alien diplomats who had accepted our aid for decades now openly mocking us, clapping each other on the back as they divided up access to Earth's resources and technology. In her office in Geneva, Ambassador Han watched the recording 17 times. The woman who had brokered peace between warring alien empires now understood she had fundamentally misread the galaxy. "They never saw our kindness as strength," she said to her silent staff. "They were just waiting until they'd taken everything they could before showing us what they really thought." The weeks that followed were dark ones for humanity. Torgan. Oversight ships appeared in Earth orbit. Colonial governors were replaced with alien advisors. Human scientists were required to submit their research to council review boards. Resources from human mines and farms were redirected to alien worlds with only token payment. People reacted differently to the new reality. Some advocated immediate resistance, fighting even against overwhelming odds. Others suggested we needed to learn the rules of galactic politics and beat the aliens at their own game. Many simply fell into despair, believing humanity's dreams of a peaceful future among the stars had been permanently shattered. In this darkest hour, something unexpected happened. Admiral Kim and Ambassador Han, once on opposite sides of many policy debates, requested a joint audience with President Yoon. The meeting lasted 17 hours, and when they emerged, all three looked grim but determined. The president addressed humanity the next day. Her speech was short but resolute. "We extended our hand to the galaxy in friendship, and that hand was bitten. We offered peace and were given subjugation. Some will say this proves our approach was wrong, that kindness has no place among the stars." She paused, her eyes reflecting both sadness and steel. "They are mistaken. What we have learned is not that compassion is wrong, but that true compassion must be paired with strength. We will not abandon our values, but neither will we allow them to be mocked. From this day forward, humanity will take a new path." Behind the scenes, a classified directive went out to every human government agency, research lab, and military installation. It contained just 3 words: Protocol Trojan Horse. The galaxy believed it had seen humanity's weakness. It had no idea what strength was about to be revealed. For 15 long years, humanity wore the mask of the defeated. We bent our heads when Torgan overseers inspected our cities. We surrendered our resources when alien ships arrived to collect their fair share. We spoke softly in council meetings, offering polite suggestions that were routinely ignored. 2. The watching galaxy, Earth had accepted its place. A clever but ultimately harmless species that had reached too far, too fast. Behind this carefully constructed facade of submission, something very different was happening. The day after Protocol Trojan Horse was activated, Admiral Kim met with Earth's top military commanders in a bunker 2 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean. The location wasn't chosen for its security. Alien scanning technology could easily penetrate that depth, but for its symbolism. "We go deep," Kim told the grim-faced officers. "We go silent. And when the time comes, we rise with force they cannot imagine." Meanwhile, Ambassador Han assembled a different kind of team. Linguists who could detect subtle meanings between alien words, cultural anthropologists who had spent decades studying non-human psychology, engineers who understood alien technology sometimes better than the aliens themselves. "Our greatest weapon," she told them, "is that they think they know us. They believe humans are simple, either all peaceful or all warlike. They don't understand that we contain both. And what they don't understand, they cannot defend against. The public face of humanity remained unchanged. We continued developing medical and agricultural technologies, sharing them freely with alien worlds. When a devastating plague struck the Nayari homeworld, Earth doctors worked tirelessly to develop a cure. When drought threatened the Makari colonies, human terraforming experts helped them reclaim parched lands. Each act of generosity was genuine. People truly wanted to help. But each also contained something hidden. In the cure for the Nayari plague were billions of nanoscale monitoring devices designed to record everything from military communications to power grid fluctuations. In the water purification systems given to the Makari were quantum entanglement nodes that created an undetectable communications network spanning half the galaxy. We turned their perception of our weakness into our strength, President Yoon had said when approving these measures. They expect us to continue being helpful, so we will be more helpful than they could possibly imagine. On Earth itself, the real work happened in places no alien observer would think to look. Traditional shipyards built the transport vessels and cargo ships allowed under council restrictions. But deep within asteroid belts and inside hollowed-out moons, a different kind of construction took place. Chief Engineer Park led the team that developed the quantum defense system, a revolutionary technology that could detect incoming weapons fire and shift the targeted area slightly out of normal space-time, rendering conventional attacks useless. The aliens believe warfare is about who has the biggest gun, Park told his team. We'll show them it's actually about who controls the fundamental nature of reality. Meanwhile, in an underground facility beneath the ruins of Old Seattle, Dr. Bay's quantum computing team created something even more revolutionary. A system that could hijack and reprogram any technology containing Earth-made components. And after decades of freely sharing our technology, that included nearly every advanced system in the galaxy. As these secret projects progressed, a new intelligence agency took shape. Terra Umbra, Earth's shadow, recruited from every nation and trained its agents in the art of becoming invisible in plain sight. They posed as servants in alien households, as maintenance workers on space stations, as translators and assistants and cleaning staff, the people the powerful never truly see. Year by year, these invisible humans infiltrated every major alien government. They placed quantum entanglement nodes in secure facilities. They collected biological samples to identify alien weaknesses. They mapped defenses and cataloged weapons systems. Most importantly, they listened to boasts, to plans, to threats against Earth that confirmed the necessity of what humanity was preparing to do. We learn more from the whispers in their kitchens than from all their public broadcasts, said Director Kang of Terra Umbra during one of the rare joint briefings with military and diplomatic leadership. Military training changed as well. On Earth and hidden colonies, a new generation of soldiers prepared for a kind of warfare never before seen. Traditional combat skills were still taught, but equal emphasis was placed on understanding alien psychology and how to exploit it. The Ike Torgans believe themselves invincible because they've never lost a direct confrontation, explained General Joe to cadets at the Luna Military Academy. But their confidence is their weakness. They cannot conceive of defeat, which means they have no contingency plans for it. The most challenging aspect of Protocol Trojan Horse wasn't technological or military, it was psychological. Maintaining the facade of submission took a tremendous toll. Humans had to swallow their pride daily, accepting alien condescension, with downcast eyes and apologetic smiles. Many struggled with the deception, arguing that immediate resistance would be more honorable. To counter this, Ambassador Han implemented what she called truth circles, secure gatherings where humans could speak openly about their frustrations and fears. We're not pretending to be something we're not, she would tell them. We're showing the galaxy only one side of who we truly are. The day will come when they see the whole truth. As the years passed, the alien powers grew increasingly complacent. The Torgan representative once boasted at a council meeting, "Managing humans is simple. Pat their heads when they're good, slap their hands when they reach too far. Admiral Kim was present for that remark. He smiled politely and said nothing. That night, in his private quarters, he made an entry in his personal log. They still haven't learned the most important lesson about Earth's history. Our greatest heroes weren't those who never fell. They were those who, when knocked to the ground, rose again stronger than before. 15 years after the betrayal at New Eden, humanity was finally ready. Every piece was in place. Every system was tested. Every agent was positioned. They waited only for the moment when the galaxy would reveal once again its true nature and give humanity the justification it needed to unveil its response. That moment came sooner than expected, and it would change the course of galactic history forever. The human colony on Proxima Centauri's fourth planet was nothing special to look at, just a collection of domed buildings and hydroponic farms where 10,000 people lived quiet lives growing crops and conducting climate research. They followed all the rules imposed by their Torgan overseers. They submitted their weekly reports on time. They never complained when their harvest quotas increased year after year. That's what made it so shocking when the Torgan fleet arrived without warning on a quiet Tuesday morning. "You are harboring a dangerous biological contagion," announced the Torgan commander over the colony's communication system. No evidence was presented. No evacuation was offered. The colonists had barely enough time to realize what was happening before the bombardment began. In just 17 minutes, the colony was reduced to smoking ruins. Not a single human survived. The Torgans expected the usual response: diplomatic protests, tearful speeches at the Galactic Council, perhaps a few humans attempting futile acts of resistance that could be easily crushed. What they didn't expect was silence. For 6 hours after the massacre, Earth made no official response. No emergency council session was called. No human ships moved from their assigned positions. The Torgan High Command began to relax, assuming that humanity was simply too shocked and frightened to react. Then, at precisely the 6-hour mark, every Torgan military installation across the galaxy went dark simultaneously. Power systems failed. Communications cut out. Life support systems switched to emergency backup. Even personal weapons stopped functioning. On the main Torgan battle station orbiting their homeworld, general alarm turned to panic when every screen and holographic projector displayed the same image: Admiral Kim sitting calmly at a desk. He wore a simple uniform with no decorations or insignia. "This message is being broadcast to all species in the galaxy," he began, his voice level and conversational, as if discussing the weather. 6 hours ago, the Torgan Empire committed an act of genocide against a peaceful human settlement. They claimed to be containing a contagion. That was a lie. Kim paused, letting the words sink in. For 30 years, humanity extended its hand in friendship to the galaxy. For 15 years, we have endured subjugation and mockery. Today, that ends. His eyes hardened slightly. Humanity extended its hand in friendship, which you took as weakness. Today, you learn why Earth's history is written in both compassion and blood. Across the galaxy, the carefully hidden elements of Protocol Trojan Horse activated. The nanoscale monitoring devices distributed through medical aid for over a decade formed into a vast, invisible network, sending detailed information about enemy positions and capabilities to human command centers. More importantly, they began emitting precisely calibrated energy fields that disrupted alien weapon systems. Earth's civilian transport ships transformed, outer hulls sliding away to reveal advanced weapon systems that had been hidden in plain sight. Trade vessels that had been allowed to travel between human worlds suddenly changed course, moving into strategic positions around key alien military installations. Most shocking to the watching galaxy was what happened to the medical technology humans had shared so freely. Every diagnostic device, every treatment system, every piece of equipment with Earth-made components received a quantum signal that completely reprogrammed its function. Life support systems that had saved countless alien lives now transmitted complete schematics of the facilities they were installed in. Communication networks built with human components suddenly came under Earth's control. defense systems turned against their operators. On the Galactic Council station, the alien representatives gathered in panic, demanding to know what was happening. Their own security systems locked them in the council chamber, where all screens showed Admiral Kim's continuing address. "We have disabled your offensive capabilities," he explained, still in that same calm voice. "We have not yet harmed any civilian populations. Whether we do so depends entirely on what happens in the next 24 hours. Back on Torgan Prime, the military command was in chaos. Nothing worked. Their mighty warships floated powerless in space. Their ground defenses remained silent. When they tried to launch their reserve fleet, vessels kept completely isolated from any human technology. They discovered that human agents had physically sabotaged every ship over the preceding years. "Impossible," whispered the Torgan Supreme Commander as reports of similar situations poured in from every military base. "They were broken. They were under our control." On Earth, in the headquarters of Terra Umbra, Director Kang watched real-time feeds from hidden cameras showing the alien leaders' reactions. "That was always their mistake," she said to her staff. "They thought obedience meant submission. They never understood that humans can kneel while planning to rise." Hour by hour, reports came in from across the galaxy. The Makari surrendered. Immediately, their leadership having always been uncomfortable with how humans were treated. The crystalline Vol attempted to resist but gave up when they realized their weapons were useless. The Draxians, remembering Ambassador Han's peace negotiations from decades earlier, offered not just surrender, but alliance. Only the Torgans continued to fight, activating ancient weapons platforms that contained no human components. These managed to destroy 3 Earth vessels before being neutralized by the quantum defense system. "They still don't understand," Admiral Kim told his War Council as they watched the Torgan efforts. "They think this is about revenge, about proving we're stronger. It's not. It's about creating a galaxy where what happened to our colony never happens again. To anyone." 12 hours into the conflict, Ambassador Han made her first public appearance, addressing not Earth but the civilian populations of the alien worlds. She spoke in each species' native language, explaining that human forces would not target non-military locations. She invited civilian representatives to emergency peace talks, deliberately bypassing the existing power structures. "We remember what it's like to be afraid," she told them. "We remember what it's like to be oppressed by those with greater power. We have no desire to become what we fought against." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across a dozen worlds, civilian movements arose demanding their governments accept human terms. On several planets, populations that had suffered under their own ruling classes saw an opportunity for change. By the 17th hour, the outcome was no longer in doubt. Human forces controlled all major strategic points in the galaxy. The nanoscale network provided perfect intelligence on any attempt to organize resistance. The quantum defense system made direct attack futile. For the first time in recorded history, the galaxy experienced something entirely new, a complete military victory achieved with minimal loss of life. As the 24-hour deadline approached, Admiral Kim appeared on screens across the galaxy one more time. "The choice before you is simple," he said. "Join us in building something better than what came before, or continue fighting a war you cannot win. We prefer the former. Unlike you, we take no pleasure in domination. But make no mistake, if you force our hand, we will do what is necessary." One by one, the responses came in. 6 species chose peace. Only the Torgans remained defiant to the end. The war that reshaped the galaxy lasted just 17 days. The Torgans fought to the last, refusing all offers of surrender, their rigid honor code preventing them from accepting defeat. In the end, their civilization didn't fall to human weapons, but to internal collapse. When their own population learned the truth about the massacre at Proxima Centauri, footage preserved and broadcast by hidden human monitoring systems, civil unrest tore apart what military defeat had begun. On the 18th day, silence fell across what had once been Torgan space. Their mighty warships drifted powerless between worlds, their colonies fragmented into isolated outposts. A species that had dominated galactic politics for millennia became in less than a month a cautionary tale. The 6 other council species had surrendered much earlier, their leaders quick to distance themselves from the Torgans once the tide of battle became clear. "We were coerced," claimed the Makari representative. "We always admired humans," insisted the Draxians, despite decades of evidence to the contrary. Ambassador Han listened to these excuses during the first meeting of the reformed Galactic Council with a face that revealed nothing. When all had spoken, she rose slowly from her seat, no longer in the observers' gallery but at the head of the council table. "We have no interest in your excuses," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. "What matters now is not what you say but what you do. Compassion will be the foundation of our civilization, but exploitation will be met with overwhelming response." These words became the first article of the new Galactic Charter, signed by representatives of all surviving spacefaring species. Under its provisions, each world retained its sovereignty, but aggression against any other became an offense against all. Resources would be shared equitably, with particular attention to developing worlds. Technology would be exchanged openly, with no species maintaining critical advantages over others. Most revolutionary was the creation of the Galactic Observation Network, an expansion of the human monitoring system that now worked openly rather than in secret. Any buildup of military forces, any development of weapons of mass destruction, any attempt to coerce other species would trigger automatic alerts and collective response. "Trust is earned," Admiral Kim told the Council when this provision faced resistance. "For 30 years we trusted blindly and paid the price. We will not make that mistake again." Some called this new arrangement the human peace. Others, remembering the swift and total nature of Earth's victory, whispered about human dominance. But the truth was more complex than either term suggested. 3. Months after the end of hostilities, Admiral Kim did something that shocked both humans and aliens alike. In a public ceremony on neutral ground, he deactivated the quantum defense system that had made human ships invulnerable. "We did not fight to rule," he explained as the system powered down. "We fought for equality. True equality cannot exist where one side holds all power. Not everyone on Earth agreed with this decision. Military leaders argued that the galaxy had proven itself untrustworthy. Politicians feared that showing any vulnerability would invite another betrayal. But Kim held firm. "If we become what we fought against," he said in a private meeting with Earth's leadership, "then all those who died at Proxima Centauri died for nothing." Meanwhile, Ambassador Han led a different kind of revolution. Working with representatives from every species, she established the first truly integrated communities, spaces where different species lived side by side as equals. These harmony zones began as diplomatic experiments but quickly grew into thriving centers of cultural exchange and technological innovation. "For too long, the species of this galaxy have viewed difference as threat," she said at the opening of the first zone. "Here, we will learn to see it as strength." The transition wasn't always smooth. Centuries of distrust couldn't be erased overnight. There were incidents, hate crimes against humans living on alien worlds, human vigilantes seeking revenge for past wrongs, resource disputes that threatened to escalate into open conflict. Each crisis tested the new order. Each resolution strengthened it. Slowly, a new normal emerged. 5 years after the war, something remarkable happened on a small agricultural world at the edge of what had been Torgan space. A mixed community of humans and 3 alien species faced a devastating crop failure that threatened them all with starvation. Without being asked, ships arrived from 12 different worlds, bringing food, supplies, and agricultural experts. "This is what we fought for," said one old human farmer as he watched the relief ships land. "Not to rule, not to be ruled, but to help each other when we need it." Perhaps the most profound change came in how the various species understood each other. For the first time, aliens began to truly grasp the duality that made humans unique the capacity for boundless compassion existing alongside unflinching resolve when threatened. They offered peace until peace was no longer an option, wrote a Draxian philosopher in what became a seminal text on interspecies relations. They chose kindness until kindness was used against them. They didn't want war, but when war came, they fought with a totality we could not comprehend. The galaxy learned that humans' greatest weakness and greatest strength were the same thing: their capacity for trust. They trusted others to respond to kindness with kindness. When that trust was betrayed, they responded not with blind rage, but with calculated, overwhelming force directed precisely at those who had abused their trust. 10 years after the war, the monuments began to appear. Not statues of military victory or domination, but simple markers on 100 worlds. Each bore the names of the 10,000 who died at Proxima Centauri, along with a phrase in Earth's ancient Latin language: misericordia cum potentia, compassion with power. On the anniversary of the war's end, people of all species gathered at these monuments. They came not to celebrate victory or mourn defeat, but to reflect on a simple truth that the galaxy had learned at great cost. True strength lies not in the ability to conquer others, but in choosing peace when capable of war. As for humanity, we continued our outward journey among the stars. Our ship still carried medicine and technology to struggling worlds. Our scientists still worked to solve problems that affected all species. But now, everyone understood the full meaning of Earth's extended hand, both the open palm of friendship and the closed fist it could become if that friendship was betrayed. "We are who we always were," President Yoon told the 10th anniversary gathering at New Eden, rebuilt from ruins into a thriving multi-species colony. The galaxy simply needed to see all of us, not just the parts they found convenient. And across the vastness of space, on worlds circling distant suns, countless beings of different forms and biologies and beliefs looked up at the stars with a new understanding of the unusual species that had changed everything. The humans who had shown the galaxy that kindness was not weakness but the greatest strength of all,